What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them, visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies? Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS. Have you ever wondered, can you communicate directly with spirit guides, teachers, or non-physical consciousness, or even our higher selves? What would they tell us? My name is Kevin Moore, and since 2015, I started to practice a form of communication which is termed channeling. I have been interviewing experts on my talk show to find out, does life continue after we die? And can we communicate with those that have crossed over? With each expert I spoke to, they all had different ideas. Is there knowledge from the past which could be shared with the present moment? So I thought, why not just speak to the non-physical world directly through channelers around the world? And that's what I set out to do. They Call Us Channelers will take the viewers on a journey into the phenomena known as channeling. And my main goal with this docuseries is to bring a new understanding and awareness to channeling by looking within ourselves and asking, is it truly possible that we can all use this innate ability?
I'm Alison Allan. I live in Australia. I'm originally born in Britain. I am a channeler and an author, an artist, writer, wife, mother. I get a bit zony, but I don't usually disappear altogether. I do get very small. My consciousness does shrink back quite a lot, especially with Erik, because I trust him so much. I'll let him come through as much as I possibly can. I think sometimes I don't want to miss out on anything, and once you start zoning and they come through, then you don't hear what's being said. You have to wait for the playback. Some of us can't do that. Yeah. So I tend to drop in and out, but Erik says it's because I don't relax enough, and he's probably right.
When did this start for you? When did you start to have a connection with spirituality? What was your sort of awakening experience as well?
There were so many. Right from being a kid, I sensed them, right? My grandmother died when I was 18, And she was probably the first spirit that I realized I was hearing in my head. And I just assumed it was a connection because she was my grandmother. And she just kept telling me she was all right. And it repeated in my head over and over. And then I saw her in my third eye. She was with my granddad. My granddad died long before I was born. So that was really the most direct connection to the spirit world, was from my grandmother when I was 18. But before that, it was intuition. And I can see spirits, I can see them with my physical eyes. I grew up in a haunted house, which was rather unpleasant for a kid. And probably the catalyst experience was when I came to the UK and visiting family in about 2005, I think it was. And I had an experience with Epona, the Celtic horse goddess. She followed me back to Australia. She introduced me to drawing. She got me to start drawing, and it was at first I couldn't work out whether it was a psychosis or whether it was a genuine spiritual experience. And I thought, well, it's not harming me, so I'm just going to go with it. And it really went from there. My husband died of brain cancer, and that sent the spiritual activity off the scales around me. It really did, yeah. Channeling for me started just before I met Erik. It wasn't channeling as I am now, but spirits started coming to me. They knew in advance who I was meeting, and they'd come and give me messages. So I could be sitting talking to somebody in a bar, and one of their family members would be standing next to me giving me messages. So that's when that started. And then channeling Erik kept turning up on my feed, my YouTube channel. And so I pursued it, and I've never looked back. Yeah, that was probably, what was that, 2013?
Why Erik?
I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of people going, why Erik? Well, actually, I've got past life connections with Erik. Many in the channeling Erik community do, and quite close ones. And he keeps telling me we've got a soul contract to work together. So I've got no way of proving that we haven't, so I have to believe him. Well, we owned a couple of bakeries with my husband that died of brain cancer. Basically the brain cancer, and it all coincided with the global meltdown, financial meltdown. So the two things ran side by side. And when he died, I ended up, I lost everything, homeless, penniless, living in a van. And that's when Erik really came along into my life. And I'm glad he did, because if he hadn't, I don't really know where I'd be right now, to be honest. The experiences that I was having with life in general, like ending up homeless, ending up with nothing, being stripped bare of, we tend to look at these things as our ownership of objects defines us, and it doesn't. Until you've lost them, you can't know that. So I was redefining myself through this process of being stripped bare of everything that I thought I was. And so through Erik, because he was with me every day, and he still is. Anytime I call him, he's right there. But this particular time of my life, he was there constantly. I could see him constantly, and he taught me how to channel consciously, how to connect with spirits of people. Because up until then, it had been fairly random. They were coming to me, but I didn't really know how to bring them forward. And I think my curiosity, I needed answers. I needed to know why my life had gone the way it had gone, why I'd ended up the way, where I had. And so I was seeking answers, and through channeling Erik, I got it. I got my answers. I've still got more to go, but...
How have you changed since you started channeling Erik as well? What changes have you gone through?
Personally, dealing with death is completely different. once you've opened up to spirit. Like my brother Andrew was murdered last year in Spain, and although it affected me physically, emotionally, it wasn't the same, because like when you experience loss and you don't know there's a spirit world, or you don't really have that evidence, it really puts a downer on how you feel. It makes you feel really, really bad. Like, people suffer from grief for years and years and years. They can't get over it. So experiencing that and knowing, like seeing my brother, being able to talk to him, channel him, communicate, totally changes your concept of death. It changes your concept of everything. Things that might be important are no longer important. I don't have any desire to fill my life with purchased items, for example. I have no desire to do that, to acquire things. I'm just happy. There are things that make me unhappy, but not for very long. I get over it as quickly as I can. I think it's just an experience. So I see life quite differently now, yeah. The more you open up, the more you're ready for, the more information you get. Like, for example, I was always of the belief that we were here to learn something, but I don't think we really are here to learn anything. I think we're just here to experience and understand ourselves, which, I guess it might be semantics, but I think life is just an experience that we have to have in order to understand ourselves as a spiritual entity.
Is it very much the same information that's coming through for you that's coming through for others?
Yeah, it is. I do watch other people channel, and I'm seeing the same information over and over and over. Occasionally you see channelings and you think, oh, that's a bit off, but that's where that person's coming from. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's right for that person as they're channeling it at the time,
And I'm guessing there's people that have contacted you to say, how much this has helped them as well.
Absolutely. I get that a lot. A lot of people, especially when we're channeling prime source energies, which I do a lot of now. That really helps people, because people who are sensitive in particular, they will experience, as you're channeling, they're watching a playback of your video, they start to feel things, they start to feel energies physically themselves. It's not just the verbal information that they're getting. They actually have experiences of their own, with that source. So it does, it helps a lot of people. I help more people than not, There's always the naysayers. But.
Okay, so your main guide is Erik. That's it, full stop. That's the...
He's the noisiest one. Right. I've got several others. I've got a guide called Ezra, a guide called Helene, and a guide called Shashin. Right. I've got a tall white as well. The time is not right for him yet, but we still communicate. Further down the road, in about 5 years' time, he'll be more prevalent in my life. But yeah, he's called Lawrence. Well, his name begins with L, and for some reason I wanted to call him Lawrence, so I call him Lawrence.
What's the most important message that comes through you most times then?
Love. But just be love. Above all else, just be love. Default to love, because there's no value anymore in pain. We've done pain. We've done suffering. We've done war. We've done hurt. We've done vilification. We've done it all. We don't need to do it anymore. We need to just come back to love. I think that we're birthing a new religion, a free spiritual religion, one which removes all negativity, accepts everybody for who they are, no matter what they are. I think that's what we're on the verge of, because the movement is so massive across the planet that, people who had their heads buried in life, all of a sudden are waking up and going, there's got to be something more to this. And they're seeking answers. YouTube and the internet has opened the door up for everybody to find their answers. Yeah.
Do you think you're powerful enough that this could all be coming from you?
We are all one. So it is. We are all personalities of Prime Source. We are simply incarnations of each other. I mean, I can connect with your higher self. You can connect with mine. We can channel each other. If I was to channel you, I would take on some of your personality traits. Right? I wouldn't be able to do that if we were separate. If we were all compartmentalized into separate beings, we're not. We're all one. So it's coming from me because I am Source.
What's the process of you channeling? I mean, is there any sort of signs that come on that when you start to do that process, that you start to yawn or you get tired or?
Well, different things. It depends how close they get. Right, if I take on almost to a full trance, Erik tends to make me wriggle because he gets inside my chakras, so he tends to bump me around a bit. But I get zone out. With Source energy, when I was talking about love before, my eyes started to tear up because I know I'm channeling Source on the weekend for our event. So Source comes in strong about 5 days before, and it builds up and builds up, builds up. And then I start to get teary and lovey and peace. And I want to experience everything. If I'm walking past sand, I might want to pick it up and just feel it for the sake of going with that sand, That's with Source energy. With others, it's usually instant they come in, and I just start to feel them. I know they're there,
So for someone that wants to start channeling, would you say we can all channel? We all have that ability. What if you can just define as well, which we may have done already, what is channeling to you?
Channeling is reaching out to the highest vibration that there is and allowing information to flow through. Right? That's what it means to me. And it can be seeing a spirit and just having a conversation, because some people will just sit and have a conversation with a spirit. And sometimes I do that. And others will bring them through themselves. I think the definition of channeling is quite broad, to be honest. We all do it. Artists, writers, the creative arts, they're channeling. Some of it's coming from the direct level within the head, within the brain, within their environment. But a lot of it's coming through because they're bringing it through from the higher self, from their higher self, or through other higher selves. I use channeling all the time. Right? I'll be needing an answer for something, and I just go to my higher self and go, can you give me the answer to this? What is it? And she'll drop it in my head. It's almost like watching water drop onto a pond, and then I'll go, she's told me, she's given me it. So I work intuitively a lot. I feel a lot, and I can ask others. I'll ask other spirits. I kind of get a feeling that I should ask this spirit or that spirit, and I will ask them. I've got a thing going on my Facebook at the moment. It's over 500 messages long. I've asked everybody for their mysteries, and I've just been going through the mysteries. Some I've been getting intuitive answers. Some have been going direct. Some I'll actually ask the person, the spirit, to come through and answer.
Right.
So, yeah.
And just for yourself, what do you see the differences, again, between the clairvoyants, the psychics, and then the channelers? Is there much difference?
I don't think there's any difference. I think that, like I was just saying before, when I'm getting an intuitive response, that's probably your psychic experiences, but you're still channeling it. You're still inviting information to come through you. And then there's the more direct way, which is, letting it's just degrees of separation between the different ways to do it. And then there's full-on trance channeling where you leave your body completely, and let the spirit host a spirit. All right. The whole channeling phenomena is going to explode. It is about to explode. It's already in the exploding phase. You will have noticed that the number of channelers on the internet, people waking up to who they are, it's the phenomena is about to. It's actually showing me a picture of like a mountain, right? And this is part of it. This your documentaries is part of it. And what Alison touched on before about birthing of a new religion, I don't really like the word religion. It has this connotation to it. You know, everybody hears the word religion, they go, oh, fuck, that's fucked up. But the truth is, the world is on the verge of birthing a new religion, but it's not one of doctrine. It's not one of rules and regulations. It's about the freedom to understand who you are as a human being. What you're doing here what you're doing here is about experience. There are so many experiences that you can have as a human being, and each and every person is having one of them as an individual, but it's still part of the collective. It's still part of the whole. And so the community that is bringing forward information through channel sources is doing it to help people improve that experience, so that down the road, you know, we want to say goodbye to wars. We want to say goodbye to those things that make us feel like shit. I mean, nobody enjoys a war, right? Only people are making money out of it. But we all, and this is as a collective, you, me, Alison, everybody who's in your documentary, everybody who's channeling, everybody who's opening up to spirit, the collective agreement is to change the world in such a way so that we're not having these really dismal, negative experiences anymore. Nobody wants that in the spirit world. It's done. It's finished. It's time for change. It's time we all work together to experience the fun side of life, not just the miserable side of life. There's so much fun to be had as a human being.